Man, like I said, ever since God guided me, no wise person on earth has ever insulted me. I repeat, ever since God guided me, no wise person on earth has ever insulted me.
So my request to all the Muslim brothers and sisters, you go back to the Quran. Study the Quran. Quran is the most positive book in the world. It's a proclamation to humanity. It's a fountain of mercy and wisdom. It's a warning to the heedless. It's a guide to the erring. It's an assurance to those in doubt. It's a solace to the suffering and a hope to those in despair. You can get all these benefits only if you read the Quran with understanding. If you don't know Arabic, read the translation of the Quran in the language you understand the best. Implement it, inshallah, it will be a guidance for you for your full life, and you'll see your life change. Hope that answers the question.
It says in Sahih Al-Bukhari, and no one knows who's going to bell the cat, that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ married Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha when she was 6 years of age. It is irrelevant that the hadith goes on to say that the marriage was consummated when she was 9. That's irrelevant. What is relevant is that the marriage took place when she was 6. If this is true, then it has become sunnah to marry 6-year-old girls. And if you believe that this is true, I ask the question, why aren't you marrying a 6-year-old? Which one of you will marry a 6-year-old? Nobody. None. That's where integrity is today. That is where integrity is today. You say, yes, it is a Sahih Hadith, but none of you are prepared to marry, none, a 6-year-old child. We say no. That hadith is in conflict with the Quran. It's fabricated. It's an insult on the Prophet ﷺ. And somebody should take it and throw it in a garbage bin. Oh, Imran Hussein is controversial now. If I don't use this violent language, nobody will wake up.
من اشترط شرطا ليس في كتاب الله. This is a principle that everyone should apply, including yourself. That do not impose in anything that you do in your life. Do not impose in anything that you do a condition that you do not find that condition in the book. So alhamdulillah, you have just proven that the sunnah takes us back to the Quran. The sunnah tells us, go to the Quran and see the laws that are in the Quran. Whatever laws you find there, don't apply it to, if it's not in the book of Allah, don't apply it to your life.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Peace be upon you all. Let me see. Yeah, kindly give me a signal if you can hear me sounding clearly before I move on. Thank you all for coming. As you all know, this is babashuaib, aka the correctional officer. Ba'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge with Allah against the accursed devil. Yeah. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنَ قَوْلًا مِّمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And who is better in speech than one who invites to God and acts righteous and says, indeed, I am of the Muslims. هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين. This is my way. I invite to God by perception. I and whoever follows me, and glory be to God, for I am not among the idolaters. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqin. O you who believe, beware of God and be with those who are honest, that is, who are truthful. And God being gracious and merciful, we have life and we have health, and we are here again, once again. So our topic today is let us decipher the mistranslated verses or the mistranslations of the sectarian mushriks or the sectarians, right? So I'm going to highlight some of the verses whereby they like to mistranslate according to their own dogmas, the sunnah, whatever fabrications they have. So they mistranslate the verses in order to suit their agenda and needs, right? So peace be upon you all for coming. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Salam, young breezy. Yes. Salam, you all. I see you, Sister Natalia. I see you. Salam, Sister Rashida Mohammed, Manaz Khan, Abdul Jalil, Lamin Mohammed, Shohag Mahmoud, Nash Bayan. I see all of you. Naeem Rahman. I see you. Hamza Hussein. Salam. Peace be upon you all. Thank you all for coming again for your time. So let's move on straight to the point because I have to be spot on with the time. I don't want to take too much time to put emphasis on what I have to say. So I'm going to quote one hadith. Inside the hadith, one of the reasons why people should ditch the hadith books, the fabrications, which are worthless, and I call them garbages. I'm going to give you that one instance and the reason why I said so. In the book of Sahih Al-Bukhari, 304. Let me see if I can share the screen. If I can share the screen, then I can let the viewers see what I'm talking about. Right? It's Bukhari. It's Sahih Al-Bukhari 304. Right? Sahih Al-Bukhari 304. Now the hadith is saying, inside the hadith, the reason why hadith looks down on women especially, when you are a person who relies on the hadith, let me show you why. One reason why the hadith disrespect women mostly. Yeah, Salam Haji London Aganka Kamal Adams Yusuf Ian, I see you all. The hadith says that the prophet was going to the Eid, and then he passed by the women's side and he says, "Oh women, give charity, give alms, as I have seen that the majority of the dwellers of hell fire were women." That is, he is saying, according to the hadith, which I don't believe, this is a fabricated hadith. Sahih Al-Bukhari 304. So he says, "Oh women, I think I have a better option. Let me just put it in a big font so that people will see the parts I'm trying to quote. But if you want to search it up, go to sunnah.com. You can go to sunnah.com and you look it up for yourself. Sahih Al-Bukhari 304, right? Sahih Al-Bukhari 304 on sunnah.com, right? So I'll just maximize it, then we all read it together so that we see what I'm talking about, right? So Sahih Al-Bukhari 304. Let me see. Bukhari 304, right? If you go to sunnah.com, right, that is where they have the best hadith collection website, right? They have all the collections of the hadith where you can find the reference I'm giving. It's 304. That is the book of menstrual period. So it's Hadith 304. And I'll share the screen so that people will see the Hadith I'm talking about. I don't know if it could be visible enough for people to see, but let me see if I can share it. Salam, peace be upon you. Baba said Naganka, salam. I see you. Oh, yes. YSG, Salis, Jimmy, Naganka, salam. No, YSG, you are not late. I just started, so you are not late. Yusuf, Yanda, I see you all. So let me share the screen. So here is the screen. It's sunnah.com, right? Sunnah.com. That is where they have the best hadith collection. All the popular collections of hadith, that is where you find it. Sunnah.com. So I'm going to take the part that I wanted you to see from this website, that is sunnah.com. Here, up here, you see the where my mouse is moving from the highlight up here, sunnah.com. So I paste it so that people will see the reference I'm trying to talk about. Let me see here, Arial. The hadith goes as such. Oh, what is wrong with this? Guys, please. I hope this network doesn't start acting weird again. I hope so. Okay, so let me share the word this thing. Then people will see the screen of what I'm saying. So you can type it down for me if you can see what I'm sharing clearly, right? Let me know if you can see. It says, "Oh women, give alms, as I have seen that the majority of the dwellers of what? Of hellfire were women, were you women." Then the reason is, he says, "You curse frequently and are ungrateful to your husbands." Now, according to the hadith, it's saying that the prophet, which I don't believe, this is a pure fabrication, right? And classified it as Sahih Al-Bukhari. They classified it as Sahih Al-Bukhari, right? It's a fabrication. So bear in mind, it's a big time fabrication. Sahih Al-Bukhari 304. Remember, it is their scholars who make this hadith Sahih. It wasn't the prophet who classified this as Sahih, right? Their own scholars classify this as Sahih, right? So he says, "Oh, give alms, oh women, give alms, as I have seen that majority of the dwellers of hellfire were you women." So the prophet, according to the hadith, is telling women that they will be the majority in the hellfire. That is a big lie. That is a lie. God never said this garbage in the Quran. It doesn't exist. Then another reason is, he says, "You curse frequently." Because they curse frequently, that is the reason they will go to hellfire. And he says, "And are ungrateful to your husbands." And then he is accusing them of being ungrateful to their husbands. I wonder, when he was talking to the women, all of them were married, or some of them were single. You understand? Or was he only married women he was talking to at that time? Then he says, "I have not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence." Now look at the garbage book. Look at what he's telling the women. And this is the kind of book your scholars uphold and they hold in high esteem. And they go to the extent and say, babashuaib is the enemy of Islam. The hadith book is telling women that they are what? They have deficiency in what? Intelligence. This is what the hadith book is telling you. They said deficiency in intelligence and religion. According to the hadith, it is telling you that the prophet said, he's saying, "I have not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence and religion than you." He's insulting the women. Now, this is an insult. And you find it in the Sahih Al-Bukhari book. That is a garbage book, I tell you again. Wallahi lazim. Total garbage book. This is an insult to women, this book. You should burn this book, seriously. It should be burnt to garbages, to ashes. It's a useless book, the dumbest book ever in this universe. This is an insult to women, telling the women that the prophet is saying that he has seen most of the women that they will go to hell. Another stupid statement by the hadith. Then he said the reason is they curse frequently and are ungrateful to their husbands. I wonder, was he only talking to married women or single women, or which group of women? I don't know. I have not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence and religion than you. You see the insults to women again. Trying to tell women that they lack intelligence. They have deficiency in intelligence. Another insult. And then religion, meaning they are deficient in the religion. Another, discrimination against women. This is the hadith book. The reference is Sahih Al-Bukhari 304. Please write it down. Mark it down, everybody. You can write it down for me in the comment section as well. And this is the so-called hadith book your scholars are telling you to uphold. So write it down. Please write it down. Sahih Al-Bukhari 304. Is according to the hadith, he's saying the prophet says, I've not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence, an insult to women. Telling women they lack intelligence. And then saying deficient in religion, telling women they lack religion, meaning faith. An insult. And you call this book of faith, this garbage book, this hadith book. Then a cautious, sensible man could be led astray by some of you, telling women that they are devious and they are devils. Saying that a cautious, sensible man could be led astray by some of you women. An insult to women again. And saying this rubbish is coming from the prophet. Are you nuts? Any scholar who upholds this garbage as a source of faith is the dumbest fool ever on earth. Wallahi lazim. Wallahi. So kindly share this video. Let it reach the scholars. And I'm calling them out for a dialogue. Let them step forward. I will embarrass them. Poto, poto, poto. Wallahi lazim. Wallahi. Now the reference is Sahih Al-Bukhari 304, right? Sahih Al-Bukhari 304. Share it. Let it reach your scholars, the sectarian scholars. I'm well prepared for them. Ranon kuyakai, inshallah. So that is the garbage hadith that the scholars are making you uphold, telling you women lack intelligence and they lack faith in religion, and telling women that even a cautious, sensible man could be misled by a woman. So no more the devil. It's not talking about the devil. It's now talking about the women. So the hadith, your hadith book, the garbage hadith, is telling you that the prophet is telling you that a woman is more devious and dangerous than the devil himself. Hey, salam liman imran anagaka. Kojo Anand says, when I said this, they said I was a hater. Oh, I'm glad to hear you. Okay. Yeah, the truth hurts, People don't like the truth. When you tell them, they call you a hater. You see, so the garbage book is telling women that they lack intelligence. And telling women that they lack faith, meaning they are what? They are, oh my God. And telling women that they are more likely to mislead a person, not the devil anymore. No, they are not even telling, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Akoy magana sembe badidi. Wallahi. Skeptic says what? Yes, Mushrik Swat will come for you, bye-bye, in 2098. By that time, I don't retire now. Hey, salam so ladies and gentlemen, share it, let it reach those scholars, let it reach them, and let them come and explain. And if they are coming to explain, tell them babashuaib said, please, I beg them in the name of God, right? they should come, face me, and explain to the people whilst I'm there. They shouldn't sit on their platforms to twist the narrative and lie to the people. Your garbage hadith book is telling the women that they have deficiency in intelligence, telling the women they lack intelligence and they lack faith in religion, and telling us, these same people you are saying they lack the intelligence, you are telling us these same people are the ones who are more likely to mislead a sensible man. So how can somebody who has deficiency in intelligence be capable of misleading a sensible, cautious man? Look at an insult to women. And you uphold these garbage books. Sahih Al-Bukhari. Balifi, I'll get them at the right time, inshallah. So let's decipher the mistranslation of the sectarian mushriks, right? That is the main point of the pro, right? So before I go on, chapter 10, verse 82 says, وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. Right? And God will enforce the truth with his words, even if the criminals dislike it. Right? مُجْرِمُونَ وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. And God will enforce the truth with his words, not babashuaib's words, not any scholar's words, not Zakir Naik's words, not even the prophet's words. He will enforce the truth with his own words, with his words, even if the criminals dislike it. Who are the criminals? The mushriks. They are the criminals, the hypocrites, the munafiqs, the sectarian groups. They are the ones who try to enforce the truth with their own scholars' words. They will tell you, according to my scholar, according to this mazhab, according to this doctrine, it says this, according to this hadith, it says that. That's what they do, right? So Quran chapter 10, verse 82 gives a stamp on that statement. And Quran chapter 25, verse 33 says to the Prophet, وَلَا يَعْتُونَكَ بِمَثَلٍ إِلَّا جِئْنَاكَ بِالْحَقِّ وَأَحْسَنَ تَفْسِيرًا. And they will not come to you with an instance, with an example, with an argument, with any case, right? إِلَّا جِئْنَاكَ, except we brought you, or right, we bring to you, or we brought you the truth, بِالْحَقِّ. إِلَّا جِئْنَاكَ بِالْحَقِّ. Then he says, وَأَحْسَنَ تَفْسِيرًا. This ahsana is a sigatul tafdil, that is a superlative form that is used to represent a preference. So God used the word ahsana tafsira, best in what? Commentary or explanation. So God has given the book, which on its own, it has been explained and best in explanation, right? So that is the truth, haq, the words of God. So Quran chapter 6, verse 115 says, وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ صِدْقًا وَعَدْلًا لَا مُبَدِّلَ لِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. So he says, the word of your Lord is complete in truth and justice, that is in honesty, siddiqan, in honesty, in truth, right? وَعَدْلًا, and what? Justice, right? Then he says, لَا مُبَدِّلَ لِكَلِمَاتِهِ. There is no alteration to his words, right? The words of men can be altered. The words of God has to be straightforward, fixed. It doesn't change. God says one is one. He says two is two. No changing, right? And then وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ, and he is the hearing and the what? Omniscient. Right. So we move on to the topic of today. Now, first of all, the sectarians like to misquote verses. They quote verses out of context. Whenever they quote a verse, they will go outside the Quran to bring in their own interpretations, their own hadith books, in order to make it make sense to you. And they are all garbages, right? They are lying to you. So it's not the truth. Whatever the sectarians are telling you is never the truth, and that is not what God intended, right? So I'm going to break down all the verses that the sectarians like to misquote. To bring the verses out to lie to the people, I'm going to show you the right translation to the words in the Quran by using God's words to enforce the truth, because God enforces the truth with his own words, not my words, right? So the Quran, everybody has the copy at home. I'm not the inventor of the Quran, right? So now, they will quote verses such as chapter 3, verse 31, right? So I'll be putting the verses on the screen as we go. Then I'll be showing you deciphering the mistranslations the sectarians have been doing to the Quran all this while. So you might think they know what they are saying, but they are ignorant, right? So first of all, Quran chapter 3, verse 31, I'm going to put the verse on the screen, then I'm going to tell you what it says, right? Quran chapter 3, then I put verse 31. Quran chapter 3, verse 31, that is Surah Al-Ali Imran, chapter of the family of Amram, right? That is where I'm going. Ali Imran. So let me share the screen and then we see the verse and says, right? Ali Imran, chapter 3, verse 31. So the verse is on the screen. And the messenger was asked to say, Kul in kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni. Then he says, Yuhibbukumullah wa yaghfir lakum zunubakum. Wallahu ghafurur rahim. Then the messenger was asked to say, Kul, say, this is a command, fil amr, it's a verb, so it's a command. Kul, in kuntum tuhibbuna Allah, if you should love God, or if you love God, it's talking to the plural sense of people, right? The believers. So if you should love God, or if you love Allah, God, then he says, fattabi'uni, then follow me. Follow him as a messenger. He doesn't say, come and follow my sunnah. He never said, follow my sunnah. Then if according to you, the mushriks, you are saying, follow me means follow my sunnah, then why are you not marrying 6-year-old girls? Because according to you, you claim the prophet married a 6-year-old girl. So if you are saying, follow me means follow my sunnah, or follow the garbage hadith, then we should be seeing you marrying 6-year-old girl. We are waiting. So far, we don't see that happening with your scholars. Oh, such an embarrassing thing. You rather attribute that to a prophet, but you don't attribute that to your scholars and yourselves. That's a shame. So the verse says, In kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni. Then he says, Yuhibbukumullah. And then God will now love you. So you following him, remember, the verse starts with a fi'l amr. It's a verb, a command. Kul. Now, whenever you have been commanded to say something to somebody, you become a messenger at that moment. You are no more anything else other than a messenger, because that message coming out from the word, from the mouth of the entity, is no more his own words. He's been commanded to say it. So, kul in kuntum tuhibbuna Allah. If you should love God. Now, this is a messenger speaking. It is not the prophet anymore. The prophet is his own titlehood God has given him. That's different, separate from his duty as a messenger. Then he says, follow me. You are following him as a messenger. So I'm going to prove to you. You are not following his hadith, neither any garbage hadith or sunnah. You are following him as a messenger. And what has a messenger has to give to you? I'll show you the answer. So then he says, Yuhibbukumullah, God will then love you, wa yaghfiru lakum, and forgive you, zunubakum, your faults, your sins. Zunubakum. Then he says, Wallahu ghafurur rahim. And God is forgiving and what? Merciful. So that most of the sectarians, what they don't do is they don't conclude the verse and take you downwards. So 31 to verse 32, the verse gives you the picture of what you need to understand. Quran chapter 3, verse 31 to 2. So it gives you the whole concept of what you need to understand, right? وَالرَّسُولَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْكَافِرِينَ. So it's as simple as ABCD, that the messenger has been commanded to tell you that if you should love God, then follow him. That is, follow me as a messenger. You are not going to follow him by following his sunnah. No. Yes, salam tikas. That is not the point. You are following him as a messenger, because he has a message to give you. That's why he's been asked to say, Kul. So the verse below tells you, further places the emphasis by telling you, Kul atiullaha wa rasula. So now God is now giving him the emphasis to give to you, the believers. Say, obey God and the messenger. You are not obeying something different. the entity you are obeying as a messenger has a message from God to give to you. So that's why it says obey God and the messenger. Messenger is not coming to tell you something separate. I will show you the answer in the Quran. Then he says, for intawallahu, and if you should turn away, right? For inna Allah la yuhibbul kafirin, then God does not like the disbelievers, meaning you have rejected the statement. So God does not like such people. So it is, the message is coming from God, so he has given it to a messenger to bring to you. So you need to obey the messenger. That means you are obeying God, right? So the verse has nothing to do whatsoever to do with Sunnah, to do with Hadith, and I'm going to show you the evidence from the Quran. It's simple as it is, right? As simple as it is. So I take you to Quran chapter 14, verse 44. That is Surah Al-Ibrahim. Quran chapter 14, verse 44, right? Yes. Quran chapter 14, verse 44. Let me see here. Take this out. And then I can share the screen so that you see the verse. Yes. I go to Quran chapter 14, verse 44. Then I put the verse on the screen. I don't know why this is trying to hiccup. This thing shouldn't start freezing now. Come on. Yes, that's Surah Al-Ibrahim. Quran chapter 14, verse 44. For those who have the Quran next to you, whilst I quote the verses, you can open it up on your side and you see the verse as I mentioned. Oh my God, I'm opening something here and it's having some lecture here. Yeah, now it's up here. So I share the screen, then you get to see what I want you to see. Quran 14, verse 44, right? Yes, Quran chapter 14, verse 44. So let me share the screen. Yes, now it should be okay. So in that verse, God says, وَأَنْزِرِ النَّاسَ يَوْمَ يَأْتِهِمُ الْحَزَابُ فَيَقُولُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا رَبَّنَا أَخِرْنَا إِلَى أَجَلٍ قَرِيبٍ. Then he says, in that verse, God is saying, and warn the people of a day the punishment will come to them, right? Then those who transgress will say, our Lord, delay us to a nearby term, right? Then God says, we will answer. He will say, we will answer. Nujib. Da'wataka. That is, we will answer your call and follow the messengers. Now, this is what God is saying. And warn the people of a day the punishment will come to them. Then those who transgress will say, our Lord, delay us to a nearby term. We will answer your call and follow the messengers. This is what they will say after the punishment has come to them. They will say, we will answer your call and follow the messengers. Then God now will say, or have you not been swearing before that there will be no cessation for you? Nothing can stop you. So now why is it that you want to follow the messengers? So you see, so when Muhammad alayhi salam says, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي, you are not following him by following his sunnah. You are going to follow him as a messenger because he has a message from God to give you. So what the sectarians do is, when they are dealing with a verse, they leave the siyak, the context, out. So when they quote a verse, then they jump outside the Quran and go to the garbage hadith and say they are translating the verse for you or interpreting the verse for you. They are all garbages. It's a lie. Wallahi lazim. The Quran explains itself. right? So this is that one example. God says, and warn the people of a day the punishment will come to them. Then those who transgressed will say, our Lord, delay us to a nearby time. We will answer your call, your invitation, and follow the messengers. Because God says, the messenger should tell you, in kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni, follow the messenger. It's not talking about following prophet. There is a difference between prophethood and messengerhood, a messengership. They are not the same duty. So that is why Muhammad is a messenger of God and a prophet of God. Ma kana Muhammadun aba ahadin min rijalikum walakin rasulallahi wa khataman nabiyyin. Chapter 33 verse 40. Chapter 33 verse 40. Good. So we've seen the clear evidence in chapter 14 verse 44. The next evidence is in chapter 19 verse 43 concerning Abraham and his father, right? Chapter 19 verse 43, right? So if Muhammad is as a messenger is telling you in kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni, he doesn't mean come and follow his sunnah. He never tell you come and follow his hadith. He doesn't have hadith to give you. Wallahi lazim. He never wrote any hadith for you. He never authorized anybody to write hadith to give to you. So stop fooling yourselves. So Quran chapter 19 verse 43. Let me see if that one also I can share it on the screen. And we see what it says concerning Ibrahim alayhi salam. Remember, he is the one we are following his creed, Millata Ibrahim, right? So chapter 19 43 is what he told his father. Chapter 19 verse 43. Let's see what Abraham told his father. Let me see if I can share the screen also. Verse 43. I hate the way this thing is slowing down here. Yeah, and I share the screen. Exactly. Let anybody who thinks he's up to the task call me for a dialogue. I'm simple. I don't waste my time listening to amateurs. Hey, salam, brother Taulan Zilma. I see you. Salam, Joaib. Salam, Mufassir. I see you. Salam, Anyas Mufti. I see you all. Yes, Dagomba man. I see you all. Yes. Salam alaikum. You're welcome. Yes, allow them to write their gibberish on my wall. I don't have any time for amateurs. They are all amateurs. They don't have scholars to even face me. Their scholars are running away like zebras. Running away from the lion. Mushrikai the stress. The mushriks are bleeding for real. Okay, so chapter 19 verse 43. Let me share the screen. We see it says chapter 19 verse 43. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. Yeah. Chapter 19. So chapter 19 verse 43. Abraham told his father, "Oh, my father, indeed there has come to me of the knowledge which has not reached you. So follow me." He used the word fattabi'ni, follow me. Then he says, I will lead you to a straight path. Ahadika siratan sawiya. That means I will what? Lead you or guide you to a straight path. So follow me, meaning he has a message from God. You are not following his sunnah. So where is the sunnah of Ibrahim alayhi salam? Are we going to go and search for hadith books also for the sunnah of Ibrahim? How can people be fooling themselves like that? God has guided Ibrahim. When he said, follow me, then he give you the message of God. He's not going to give you garbage books and tell you this is another guidance for you. Why are people so dumb like that? And again, this is Ibrahim. After Ibrahim, again, we have Haruna. That is the brother of what? Musa alayhi salam. So Quran chapter 20, verse 90, Surah Taha, right? Chapter 20, verse 19. Chapter 20, verse 19. let's see what it says, right? So the sectarians, when chapter 3 verse 31 says, In kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni, what they do is they go and translate it here. It means come and follow the sunnah of the prophet. And that is a lie. God never asked you to come and follow anybody's sunnah. the sunnah we have in the Quran is sunnatullah, right? That is the sunnah of God. And all the prophets and the messengers follow the same one. They don't come and tell you, come and follow my own indoctrination or mazhab, or they don't have any, right? So Quran chapter 20 verse 90. Aaron also what? Told people to follow him. Follow him doesn't mean they should come and follow his sunnah. As simple as that. So the verse says, although Aaron had already told them earlier, oh my people, you are only being tested with it. For indeed, your Lord is the gracious. So follow me and obey my command. So does it mean if we are Aaron telling the people to follow me and obey my command, does it mean they should come and follow his sunnah? Does it mean they should come and follow hadith books? The answer is no. He has a message from God. So when he says follow me, he's going to give you the message from God. And obey my command. The commands God has given him is the same command he's going to give you. And I'll give you the answer at the end of this point. Then you understand what the verse actually means. And Isa alayhi salam, chapter 3 verse what? Verse 53. Isa alayhi salam also said similar to his people. Quran chapter 3 50. He also told his people, follow me. Does it mean we should come and follow his sunnah? Does it mean we should come and follow his hadith books? No, no, no. No following of hadith books. Right? So chapter 3 verse 53, Surah Al-What? Al-Imran. Isa alayhi salam said a similar thing to his people, and it has nothing to do with hadith books. So if Muhammad alayhi salam, chapter 3 verse 31, he says, In kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni, follow me. It doesn't necessarily mean come and follow his sunnah. It doesn't mean come and follow hadith books. You'll be a fool to put hadith books there. Wallahi lazim. You are the dumbest fool ever. If you are a scholar, you should be taken back to school again to start afresh, because you are not making sense anymore. Your time is up. Right? So Quran chapter 3 verse 53, Isa alayhi salam, he also said the same thing to his people. So we are going to see what he said in that verse. Right? Let me show you what it says. So for those who have their Quran next to them, you can check. Who are we supposed to follow? Is it the prophet or the messengers? Is it a messenger we are supposed to follow, or is it the prophet? A prophet has his own personal life. He is not the one God says, come and follow. You are currently following the messenger when he says, Fattabi'uni. He's not coming to tell you, come and follow my sunnah, come and follow my hadith books, come and follow how I married 6-year-old girl according to your garbage hadith. You are saying he married 6-year-old girl, and we don't see you following that sunnah. What a pity. The mushriks, why are you deluding yourselves like that? So let's see what the verse says. Quran chapter 3 verse 53. If you have the Quran next to you, you can open it, check for yourself, write it down, mark it down, so that you see there is no difference as to when it comes to the messengership. He says, our Lord, we have believed in what you revealed and have followed the messenger. Who? That is Isa alayhi salam, when he came to his people. If you want to understand the context, start from verse 52. You understand he's talking about Jesus, right? Verse 52 says, but when Jesus sensed disbelief from them, he said, who are my supporters for God? The disciples said, we are supporters of God. We believe in God and testify that we are Muslims, right? So verse 53, our Lord, we have believed in what you have revealed and have followed the messenger. So register us with the what? Witnesses. So they follow the messenger. So there is the messenger who asks you, follow me. Because you are not going to follow his personal life. He has to tell you what God says. And you are here fooling yourself, says you are following hadiths and garbage books. Afala takilun. Why can't these mushriks reason for once? And mushriks too, you are frustrated. So Quran chapter 3, verse 31 doesn't mean come and follow any garbage hadith. Come and follow any garbage sunnah. It means come and follow the messenger. He has a message of God to give to you. That's why the verse is Kul atiullaha wa rasulah. So obey God and the messenger. Because you cannot see God. You cannot see God directly. Where can you obey him? So he gave a message to the messenger to bring. So Quran chapter 5 verse 67 testifies to that. Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 67, it clearly told the messenger, Ya ayyuha rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik. Then he says, Wa illam taf'alu, fama ballagta risalatahu, wallahu yasimuka minan nas. Inna Allah la yahdi al-qawma al-kafirin. Right? That is Quran chapter what? Chapter 5 verse 67. And I share the screen so that you can see the verse. Right? So a messenger's duty is to deliver a message from God. And if he does not deliver that message, then he has not delivered the messages of God. So God will protect him from the people. For God does not guide the disbelieving people. So a messenger brings you a message from God. Because God has spoken in the message, that messenger has to come and repeat the same message to the people. That is why God always says, obey God and obey the messenger. Because you find both the messenger's words in the Quran and God's words in the Quran at the same time. Somebody will say, how is that? I'll come to that. I'll explain to you. You'll get the answer. So be patient with me. Right? So God simply asks us a question in Quran chapter 16 verse 35. فَهَلْ عَلَى الرُّسُلِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ مُبِينٌ. Chapter 16 verse 35. At the bottom of the verse, the last part of the verse, God asks a critical question. Is there any duty? Is there any other thing upon the messengers if not the clear delivery of the notification? Is there anything upon the messengers apart from delivering the clear notification? Do they have any duty upon them? Chapter 16 verse 35. You check the down part of the verse. God says here, فَهَلْ عَلَى الرُّسُلِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ مُبِينٌ. Is there upon the messengers except the clear delivery or the clear notification? Do they have any other duty? The answer is no. So the answer of the duty of a messenger is to deliver precisely what God asked him to deliver. Nothing else, nothing subtracted. So don't let any scholar fool you and tell you otherwise. Right? It's as simple as that. So now we finish with the first batch. The second batch, they will quote Quran chapter 4 verse 59. The second batch is what? What they do is they quote Quran chapter 4 verse 59. And I'm going to show you, explain to you what people are missing. Quran chapter 4 verse 59. That is Surah An-Nisa. The sectarian mushriks like to quote verse and then they lie to you big time. Right? So I'm going to help you to understand how these people are deviating people. They are deviating the majority of the people, right? Let me share the screen. Then we see the verse. So Quran chapter 4 verse 59. We are going to decipher this verse, understand the concept of this verse, and to see how the mushriks, the Sunnis, the Shias, the Ahl Sunnah, the Tariqah Tijaniyah, the Ahmadiyya, how they are misleading people with their own whims and desires and their dogmas. So be careful. And I'm here to help you to do that. Right? So the verse says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, atiu Allah wa atiu rasula, wa ulil amr minkum. Fa in tanaza'tum fi shay'in, farudduhu ila Allahi wa rasul. In kuntum tu'minuna billahi wal yawmil akhir. Zalika khayrun wa ahsana tahwila. Now this is the verse. Quran chapter 4 verse 59. I hope you are marking it down. We started with chapter 3 verse 31. In kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni. The mushriks like to quote this verse to lie to you. The second verse is chapter 4 verse 59. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu atiu Allah wa atiu rasul wa ulil amri minkum. Fa in tanaza'tum fi shay'in farudduhu ila Allahi war rasul. In kuntum tu'minuna billahi wal yawmil akhir. Zalika khayrun wa ahsana ta'wila. So we are going to see what this verse says, because the sectarians like to lie to you a lot. The verse says, oh, you who believe, It's talking to the believers. It's not talking to mushriks or any other people. Talking to believers. Oh, you who believe. Obey God. We all know we can obey God from the Quran. That is the book of God. Quran. But now it went ahead to say, oh, and obey the messenger. Obey God, because first of all, if the messenger didn't bring the Quran, we cannot get the words of God. So now we have the words of God in the form of the Quran. But somebody has to what? Bring the words out. Someone who received the Quran has to bring the words out. So I quoted chapter 5 verse 67 to you. Ya ayyuha rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik. Wa in lam taf'alu fama ballagta risalatahu wallahu yasimuka minan nas. So the messenger has been given the messages of God to bring to you and I, and he brought it. The Quran. That is the message of God. So whenever I'm obeying what the messenger says from the Quran that he has been given, that means I'm obeying God. So Quran chapter 4 verse 80. Man yuti'u rasula faqad ata Allah. Whoever obeys the messenger is obeying God. Because when my son is sent, if my son is sent to me to come and tell me that, Baba, my mom is calling you. At that moment, he's acting as a messenger. So when I obey him, I'm obeying the first command he has been given to come and tell me automatically. It doesn't mean I'm obeying him as an entity, like personally, because that word he came to tell me doesn't come from him. He's been instructed to come and tell me the same way he came. So he said, Baba, my mom is calling you. Now he's a messenger. So when I obey him, I'm automatically obeying the command he has been sent with. But mushriks fail to use this reasoning. So they will go and put prophet there. Then they will say, obey God and obey the prophet. Are you nuts? Are you a fool? You don't know the difference between A and B? Does it say the prophet or does it say the messenger there? It says Rasul. Rasul means a messenger. Out of your foolishness, you go and put Nabi there. How are this mushrik so dumb like that? Kungani. So he says, oh, you who believe, obey God and obey the messenger. We all know the messenger can be found in the book of God as well. You are not going outside the Quran to go and find what the messenger says. You'll be a fool to think the messenger is speaking outside the Quran. And that is what I'm going to address to you here, right? So to understand where we can get the messages of the messenger. For instance, when you go to Quran chapter 17, verse 85, Quran chapter 17, verse 85, I'm going to give you the example. Quran chapter 17, verse 85, God is telling the messenger, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْرُوحِ. When they ask you about the spirits, then God will now tell the messenger, قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. Say, the spirit is from the command of my Lord. Now you can see the word kuli is what we call fi'l amr. It is a verb, an action verb, a command. So he's been instructed that say, you the messenger, you say to the people. So say the spirit is from the command of my Lord. This is what he has been instructed to say. But we know the book on its entirety, the Quran, belongs to God. So when we say obey God, you find the words of God in the Quran, and obey the messenger, you still find the commands of the messenger given to him in the Quran. You'll be a fool to think the messenger is speaking outside the Quran in a garbage book. What is wrong with these mushriks? So God, chapter 17, verse 85 is the practical example of where the messenger's words can be found in the Quran. Yes, alunaka aniruh. When they ask you about the spirit, because he's a messenger, he doesn't need to use his whims and desires. So now he's been asked to say, the spirit is from the command of my Lord. Simple. My son Salim can understand this grammar. Simple. The next example is in Quran chapter 2, verse 215. Where can we find the words of messenger? Where can we obey the messenger? Quran chapter 2, verse 215. Yes, alunaka maza yunfiku. When they ask you what they should disburse, what they should spend, what they should give in terms of charity, right? Then God asked him to say, Kul ma anfaqtum min khair falil walidaini. Then he says wal akrabin. Then it goes wal yatama wal masakin wabna sabil. It goes on and gives you the list. So the messenger has been instructed to say. So now when the messenger is saying these same words to me, ma anfaqtum min khairin falil walidaini. It goes to the two parents. Whatever you spend. So that's why it says charity begins at home. According to God, he asked the messenger, when they ask you what they should disburse, what they should give out, then whatever they give of good, then it is to the what? To the parents. It starts with home first. You start with the parents. Make sure your parents are satisfied before you jump outside to the relative, akrabin, those who are nearby. Then you jump to the orphans. Then you jump to the poor people. Then you jump to those who are stranded on the way. Wabna sabil, right? The wayfarers, people who are on the way, they are homeless. They don't have a place to go. Then you go and help out. You see, so the messenger has been asked to say. So if I obey what the messenger was asked to tell me, if I obey, I'm automatically obeying God, because that command comes from God. It doesn't come from the messenger's own words. You'll be a fool to think Atiwu Rasul means go to the garbage books again. Let's go again. Chapter 2, verse 217. Chapter 2, verse 217. Oh, who is calling me? Chapter 2, verse 217. Again, in that verse, it says, Yes, alunaka ani shahr al-haram. Then it says what? Kitalin fihi. When they ask you about the sacred months and fighting therein, fighting in that month, then God asked the messenger, Qul kitalun fihi kabir. Fighting therein is big. Is big. You see, so when God says obey God and obey the messenger, we can find the words of God, which is the entirety of the Quran, but inside the words of God, the messenger has been instructed to say certain things to us. So when we obey such statements also, we are obeying the same God who gave the entire Quran. This is simple logic, but the dumbest fools are beating around the bush. Yes. Again, Quran chapter 2, verse 219, still on the messenger. How do we obey the messenger? I'm showing you how to obey the messenger. You don't need to go to any garbage book to obey the messenger. He never gave you any other book but the Quran. And I'll simplify this issue for you. What the messenger has been given to bring to you, right? It's simple as ABCD, but the mushriks are struggling. Yes, because they are hypocrites. Simple as ABCD. The mushriks are struggling. Sheza, yeah, Yusuf Yanda, I see you. Salam. Abdul Samad, yes. Yes, Isa Watson, I see you. Salam. Sayyid Adam, salam alaikum. Salam. The next example is in Quran chapter 2, verse 219. God asked told the messenger, Yes, alunaka anil khamr wal maisir. When they ask you about wine and what? Game of chance and gambling. Then God now asked the messenger to say, Kul fihima ithmun kabir. Therein is what? Is in them both of them, both of the khamr and maisir. God asked the messenger to say, Kul fihima ithmun kabir. There is great sin in them. He didn't automatically say they are haram. He never said so. Inside them, there is a great sin. Then he says, وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ, and as well as benefit for the people. But then he made a comparison by saying, ismuhuma, that is what? Their sin, ismuhuma, akbaru, min naf'ihima. So their sin, both of them, their sin is greater or is bigger than their benefit. So it doesn't mean gambling and khamr are haram. No, God never said that. We have benefit in them, and then we have sin in them. So as a believer, you have to use it wisely. Check how to use it wisely. We have benefit you can use it for. Then at the same time, we have a sin in them. This is what the messenger has been asked to say. You are not smarter than the messenger. He never said directly when they ask you, tell them, hey, it is haram, so avoid it. No, he never said that. Right? So understand the context. Then again, we go again. Quran chapter 7, verse 187. It goes again. The messenger, this is what God asked him to say. It is only the mushriks who don't want to obey the messenger in the Quran. But what do? That fake messenger in their hadith, that's where they want to go. The one who tells you women are a lot. They lack intelligence and faith. That's what you want, right? The one who tell you women have deficiency in intelligence. Sahih Al-Bukhari 304. This garbage book is telling you, your women, your mothers, your sisters, your wives, that they lack intelligence. And going ahead and telling you the women will be the majority in hell. And out of your foolish ass, you accept this garbage telling you this damn thing. And you think you have faith. This hadith book. Let me get your scholars. Chapter 7, verse 187. Yes, alunaka anis sa'at. When they ask you about what? The hour. Ayyana mursaha. When will it take place? Then God asked the messenger to say, Kul. That is, say, innama ilmuha inda Rabbi. Indeed, the knowledge is only with my Lord. You see how the messenger gives us his statements. So when God says obey God and obey the messenger, he's not telling you obey the Quran and obey the garbage books, hadith books. Allah Isa. Quran chapter 20, verse 105. Quran chapter 20, verse 105. I'm still showing you how the messenger has been asked to answer our questions, to tell us something for us to obey, right? So he says, Yasalunaka anil jibal. When they ask you about the what? The mountain. Jibal, the mountains. Then God asked him there, Fakul yansifuha Rabbi nasfa. My Lord will blow them up by exploding them. The mountains, that is on the day of judgment. So now the messenger has been asked to tell you this answer. You are foolishly telling me if I hope to obey this same messenger, I have to go outside the Quran to go to some garbage books, which he hasn't authorized, which he doesn't have his signature, which he doesn't have his approval, which he never met that garbage writer. And then you claim these books are the ones to guide you. Again, chapter 18, verse 83, you see the same example, a messenger, when they ask you. Chapter 2, verse 189. Yes, alunaka anil ahilla. When they ask you about the what? The new moon, the crescents. Then God asked him, Kul, that say, you understand? So this is how it goes, right? So it is the Quran which has been ordained for the messenger to give to us, nothing else. Quran chapter 28, verse 85. Right? Quran chapter 28, verse 85. You simply see what God has instructed the messenger. I'm going to show you. Quran chapter 28, verse 85. Let me share the screen. Then you see what has been instructed to the messenger. Salam, David Ismail. Yeah, greetings. Gabon, Boya. I see you. Salam. Oh, look at the guy. He's bleeding. Guys, look at this guy. He's bleeding. Look. He's bleeding. Look, he's bleeding. Guys, please tell him to go and bend the sea. Mushrikin banza. Allah mushrikaga. Hey, mushrika the heart attack. No problem. Na da muguko. Kuchewa balu malum magusufto. Tell him to come. and come and get the embarrassment to their faces. Wallahi, I will embarrass all your scholars, wallahi, with the foolishness they are doing, who are upholding garbage books and telling us that is Islam. Quran chapter 28, verse 85. إن الذي فرض عليك القرآن لردك إلى ماد قل ربي أعلم من جاء بالهدى ومن هو في ضلال مبين. So the verse is clearly telling us, the verse I just showed you is clearly telling us, right? It says, Kul, that is الذي فرض على القرآن. Indeed, the one who has enjoined the Quran on you. That is obligated. When we say the word farada, it's a verb. But farada alayka here means it has been obligated for him, or it has been obligated upon the prophet. Right? So as a prophet, he was given the Quran to bring to us as a message. So that is why Quran chapter 5, verse 67 says, Ya ayyuha rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik. Deliver what has been revealed to you from your Lord. Wa in lam taf'alu, and if you do not, فَمَا بَلَّغْتَ رِسَالَتَهُ, then you have not delivered his messages. وَاللَّهُ يَعْصِمُكَ مِنَ النَّاسِ. Right? So the messages are encompassed in the Quran. So he has been obligated with the Quran. Then God says, لَرَادُّكَ إِلَى مَادٍ, and he will bring you to a place of return. Ma'ad. God will bring you back. That is why the raduka, that is the similar word used in Quran chapter 4, verse 59. فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوهُ ilallahi wa rasul. That is to return or go back, right? La radduka ila mad. Mad means a place of return, right? That is why in Arabic we have the prefix. I took the code out. Yes. We have the prefix and the what? The affix, the suffix. So when you have the prefix, that is the meme in front, it represents a what? Ismul makan, a place. Ma'ad, just like we have madrasa, we have maktab, we have masjid, we have majlis. So it goes on and on. So then we have ma'ad, a place of return. Kul, say, now you see the messenger now. The one who received, the Quran has been enjoined upon him. Now from the Quran say, Rabbi alamu man jaha bil huda wa man huwa fi dalalin mubin. My Lord is aware of who comes with the guidance and one who is in clear error. Simple. God knows. He's watching the mushriks. Keep on hustling with your Sahih Bukhari. And then you go and meet God. You see. So now, Quran chapter 28, verse 85. You have seen it clearly. That is what has been enjoined upon the prophet to bring to us, right? As a messenger, right? Remember, Quran chapter 33, verse 40. Muhammad is a messenger of God and the seal of the prophets, right? So he had two assignments, not one assignment. So to put an emphasis on this, then again, I take you to what? Quran, let me see. Then I take you to Quran chapter 69, verse 43 to verse 46, right? Chapter 69, verse 43, 6. Now, in that verse, the interesting I want you to see is the messenger has been asked to say specific things, not to add, not to reduce. He cannot add, he cannot reduce, right? So God says in Quran chapter 69, verse 43 to verse 46, let me share the screen, then you can see the verse before I move on, right? Yes. Yeah, thank you very much, Christina. Yes. And as Christiana, yes. So let me share the screen. Okay. It says, Tanzilum min Rabbil Alameen. ولو تكول علينا بعد الأقاويل لا أخذنا منه باليمين ثم لقطعنا منه الوتين. Right? It says, a revelation from the Lord of the worlds. ولو تكول علينا بعد الأقاويل, and had he fabricated some of the sayings. When we say akawil, it is the plural form of what? Kul. when we say kul, qala, kul, to say. Akawil means the sayings, al-akawil. So all the sayings God gave him in the Quran, when God says they ask you about this, say this. When they ask you about this, say this. Yas'alunaka ani ruhu, kul. Yas'alunaka ani saat, kul. Now all these sayings, God says, walau takawwala alayna ba'd al-akawil. Had he fabricated some of the sayings against us, then God says, La akhazna minhu bil yamin. Then we will have seized him by the right hand. Thumma laqatana minhu al-watin. Then we will have cut off from him the aorta. That is the aorta under the heart, the cord connected to your heart that pumps blood to the arteries of the heart. God will have cut it off, and that can cause you cardiac arrest or heart attack, right? So this is what God is saying about the messenger. So this is why when you take the Quran, you see all the akawil, the sayings of the messenger in the Quran. Any other sayings outside the Quran is a fabrication. So this is why Quran chapter 69 verse 43 started by saying, Tanzilu min Rabbil Alamin, a revelation from the Lord of the worlds. Those garbage books they are upholding are not revelations from God. Don't fool yourself. A book which is telling you women lack deficiency in what? Intelligence and faith. Sahih Al-Bukhari 304. And telling you women will be the majority in hell. And the same book telling you the women are the ones to mislead men. And you women are even upholding such books. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what is this? Hey. Let's continue. Yeah, let's go on. Yeah, I will be putting my number soon. Then you can, for those who have questions, have patience. I will be putting my number soon. Then you can call, right? So now let's go back to the verse where it says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu atiu allaha wa atiu rasul wa ulil amri minkum fa in tanaza'tum fi shay'in farudduhu ila allahi war rasul. Right? Quran chapter 4 verse 59. The mushriks likes quoting this verse, and then they like to lie to you about the verse, right? So let me put the verse on the screen, then I break it down for every honest, sincere listener to benefit from this, right? Then you can benefit from this. Chaga Tui, he said what? Let me show what Chaga said. Chaga says the same book says 72 virgins in heaven. Is that true? No, they are not true. It doesn't exist in the Quran. Those garbage books, hadiths, are the ones writing all these garbage lies here. Wallahi lazim. It is not true at all. Sayyid Usman, yeah, peace be upon you. Salam, brother. Yes. So let's go on. So Quran chapter 4 verse 59, it says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, oh you who believe, obey God. We've seen where to obey God. The Quran, when you obey the entire book, you are obeying God. It comes from God, right? Quran chapter 10 verse 37. وما كان هذا القرآن أن يفترى من دون الله ولكن تصديق الذي بين يديه وتفصيل الكتاب لا ريب فيه من رب العالمين. So when you obey the book, you are obeying God, right? Now, inside the book, then we have where the messenger's statements can be found, where God asked him to say certain things. So those sayings, when you obey, you are obeying God at the same time. So atiwullaha wa atiwu rasul. You find it there. Then it says, wa ulil amr minkum. This ulil amr minkum. You see, when God used obey God, then he again used obey the Rasul. But he never used the word obey for the what? Ulil amr. But of course, in the essence of continuation, he attached the messenger with the ulil amr. And I'm going to show you the reason why. But he went further by saying, فَإِن تَنَعَزَاتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ. If you dispute about anything, because those ulil amr, we can have a dispute with them. We can have a misunderstanding. we can have a conflict of interest with them. So then God says, Farudduhu ilallahi wa rasuli. You see, he didn't say Farudduhu ilallahi wa rasuli wa ulil amr minkum. No. They cannot help you. The ulil amr minkum were only there for a specific point in time. And I'll show you the verse which explains that. Right? The further verse which explains about the ulil amr minkum is in chapter 4, verse 83. Before I go there, write it down. I'll show you who the ulil amr minkum are. They were at the time of the messenger, not our time today. At the time of the messenger is referring to. And it is not talking about ulama. God never said wa ulama minkum. He never says and scholars among you. God knows what scholars are. If you want to say scholars, Quran chapter 26, verse 197, he mentioned ulama. Quran chapter 35, verse 28, he mentioned ulama. Innama yakshallahu min ibadil ulama. The ones who fear God the most among his servants are the what? The knowledgeable ones. The ulama, the knowledgeable ones, right? So Quran chapter 4, verse 83 will further help us to understand what ulil amr minkum are. And I'm going to show you. Yes. So Quran chapter 4, verse 59, and I'm breaking that verse down. So he says, فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ, and if you dispute about anything or in anything, then refer it to the God and what? And the messenger. Because when you go back to the Quran, you get everything God wants you to know. When you go back to the messenger, God already gave him the answers to the questions he will be asked. So let's say we have issues concerning wine and gambling. Now we are disputing. This guy says gambling is good. This guy says gambling is not good. This guy says wine is haram. This guy says wine is not haram. Remember carefully. So now we are disputing. Where do we have to go? We have to go back to God and the messenger. Now, when we go back to God and the messenger, the answer can be found in Quran chapter 2, verse 219. It's simple as that. Quran chapter 2, verse 219, as I showed you earlier. Quran chapter 2, verse 219, the answer is there, as I've shown you earlier. Yes, alunaka anil khamr wal maisir. So now God is now giving the answer, but through who? Through the messenger and in the same book. So now, if we are having disputes about wine and gambling, so now we decided to go back. Farudduhu ilallahi wa rasuli. So now we went to God and the messenger, both in the same book. So God now gives the answer to the messenger to give to us. So God says, yes, alunaka anil khamr wal maisir. Now God asks the messenger, say, kul. So now tell them, fihima ithmun kabir wa manafi'u linnas. Ismuhuma akbaru min naf'ihima. So that's the answer. You see where we get the answer. So this is why God says, and if you dispute about anything, then refer it to God and the messenger, which is the same book, the Quran. And I'm going to simplify the answer for you, right? So Quran chapter 5, verse 101, further gives you the answer, the same thing I'm explaining to you. The Quran chapter 5, verse 101 doesn't want you to go outside the Quran to find answers, but instead you stick to the Quran. That is, if you are believers. Remember, Quran chapter 4, verse 59 started talking to believers. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu. Right? Then when he went further to say, in kuntum tu'minuna billahi wal yawmil akhir, that is, if you believe in God and the last day. So he's talking to believers, not mushriks. The mushriks, they will go to hadith. They cannot stick to the Quran. Wallahi. The mushriks, they will go to the garbage books to find their answers. God is talking to the believers. If you dispute about anything, they refer to God and the messenger, which is same in the Quran. So Quran chapter 5, verse 101. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu. You see again, he's talking to the believers. Then he says, La tas'alu an ashiya'a in tubda lakum tasukum. Do not ask about things, if made clear to you, will what? Will distress you. Wa in tas'alu anha hina yunazzalu al-Quran tubda lakum. And if you should ask about them when the Quran was revealed, or at the time the Quran is being revealed, then he says, Tubda lakum, it shall be made clear to you, manifested to you. Then God says, Afa Allahu anha, God has overlooked such. Because people are asking certain things which has nothing to do with the Quran. For instance, the Quran never talks about raka'at. You see somebody coming to ask me, and you say, oh, babashuaib, how many raka'at does the Quran say I should do? First of all, Quran never talks about raka'at. So if you're asking me how many raka'at, meaning you already have a preconceived notion that there's something called raka'at in the Quran. So God says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, la tas'alu an ashiyaha in tubda lakum tasukum. Do not ask about things if made clear to you will distress you. You don't need to go and ask me unnecessary questions which has nothing to do with the Quran. If you believe in God and last day, whatever you have to ask me has to be based in the Quran. You understand? Thank you very much, Musa Arabogo. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Thank you. Yes, he will reject it. The mushriks, they deny that. Quran chapter 10, verse 15. Even the prophet did ask him to change the Quran. They say, Ati bi Quran gairi haza, aw badilhu. They told the prophet himself to change the Quran or bring something else. So if you bring them my translation, the mushriks, they will reject it. Right? No problem. Tell them to bring their own translation and examine it. You catch their lies. Don't worry yourself. So this is why they are scared of me. They cannot face me. I will embarrass all their scholars. Wallahi, bring me any of their scholars or the best students they have. Such embarrassment, mushriks. Let's move on. So we see clearly that God is telling to the believers in chapter 5, verse 101, oh, you who believe, do not ask about things if made clear to you will distress you. And if you should ask about them when the Quran is being revealed or is revealed, it shall be made clear to you. And God has overlooked such, for God is what? Is Ghafurun Halim, is forgiving and clement. Good. So the answers we need are still in the Quran. They are not outside the Quran. So for whoever who wants to know the Ulil Amr Minkum, who are they? The answer is found in chapter 4, verse 83. Chapter 4, verse 83 of the Quran. The Ulil Amr Minkum, who are they? They were there at the time of the messenger. They are not scholars. It's not talking about scholars. Ulama. Ulil Amr Minkum, it means those in authority among you, those of command among you, those in charge among you. That's all it means. Ulil Amr. So Quran chapter 4, verse 83, and I'm going to share the screen. Then we see the answer to that verse. Quran chapter 4, verse 83. So when God says, wa ulil amri minkum, it doesn't mean, wallahi lazim. Stop lying to yourselves. God never said you should go to ulama minkum. So that is why when I started this lecture, I quoted chapter 10, verse 82. وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. And God will enforce the truth with his words, even if the criminals dislike it. Who are the criminals? The mushriks, the sectarian mushriks. They hate it so much when you are using the Quran alone to let people be clear on some things. They want you to mention in the Sahih Bukhari, the book of Imam Hanbali or Imam Maliki. It says when you do like this, you fly like a Superman and you enter Jannah like that. Quran chapter 4, verse 83. I put it on the screen for you. So it says, and when there comes to them an issue, when we say amrun, an issue, right? And when there come to them an issue, wa iza jahum amrun min al-amni, and when there comes to them an issue about what? Security. When we say al-amni, it's about security, safety. Then he says what? Awil khawfi, or about fear. They broadcast it. That is the people, they broadcast the issue. Then God says, and had they referred it to the messenger, listen carefully, and to those in authority, among them, those who can deduce it among them will what? Will have found it out, will have known it. And if not for the favor of God upon you and his mercy, you will have followed the devil, except a few. So in that verse, when God says, he said in that, وَلَوْ رَدُّوهُ إِلَى الرَّسُولِ وَإِلَى الْأُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنْهُمْ لَعَلِمَهُ لَذِينَ يَسْتَنْبِتُونَهُ مِنْهُمْ. So it says, and had they referred it to the messenger and to those in authority among them, those who can deduce it among them will have found it out. You see, so when we say the Ulil Amr, they were at the time of the messenger. The messenger put them in authority in terms of what? Issue of security and fear. That is why the Ulil Amr are there. So that is why this verse, chapter 4, verse 83 says, and when there comes to them an issue about security or fear, that is where the Ulil Amr are needed, because we need to obey them. They are put in command to tell people issues about security and fear. You see, so that is why it says, and had they referred it to the messenger and to those in authority among them, those who can deduce it among them will have found it out. So this is why you have to base everything in the context of the verses. Don't go outside the Quran fooling yourself, says the hadith explains the Quran. You are nuts to state that statement. I'm waiting for your scholars. So now we've seen the clear exposition of Quran chapter 3 verse 31 to 32 and then Quran chapter 4 verse 59, right? It has nothing to do with the hadith books they are claiming. Please put that at the back of your mind. It has nothing to do with the hadith books they are claiming that you should go to the hadith for explanation, right? So let me put in the phone numbers. Then again, we schedule for the part 2 of this, where I'll bring another verse. Normally they will quote verses like وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا, chapter 59 verse 7. Then they will quote verses like chapter 16 verse 44. وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. They will quote this verse and lie to you that is talking about something else. Then Quran chapter 5 verse 3 to verse 4. Then he says what? He says وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. Then they say the prophet doesn't speak from inclination. He only, everything he says is a revelation. Another foolish statement coming from them. Again, chapter 4 verse 65. Then he says, فَلَا وَرَبُّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِيمَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ. Then they say, oh, unless they make you a judge, they do not believe until they make you a judge. It's not talking about his personal opinions and judgment. It's talking about judgment with the Quran. So mushrik, stop fooling yourselves, right? So then again, they will quote chapter 4 verse 61, chapter 4 verse 115, and then chapter, let's say 75 verse 16 to 19 out of context, where he says, لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه فإذا قرأناه فاتبع قرآنه ثم إن علينا بيانه. They quote all these verses out of context. So my next video, I'll be hitting on this also. Then we get to see what their issues are about, how they lie to you. That's a series I'll be doing till the month of Ramadan, right? Sorry. I apologize for this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I have to end. Subhana rabbi zata amma yasifun wa salamu ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. So we continue next week, inshallah. Yes.